3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we are live. What's up, guys? It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. It is the year of our Lord. Happy New Year, guys, and Merry Christmas. 2022 AD, Anno Domini. I no longer have to be ashamed of the Apple logo because I have successfully covered it up. Shout out to Michelle67 or Michelle67. Nice. It says, "To God be the glory." And I covered up the Apple logo, which is the bitten apple, which is supposedly, they claim, the forbidden fruit, which it doesn't say that it was an apple. But that's what it says. I do like to put it down a little bit lower, but thank you. Very nice. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, guys. I'm going to talk about some mess going on in the world. People being called racist, people being called insurrectionists and all that stuff. Bro, no super chat still? Been a while since chatting you live. I am demonetized on YouTube and D-Live permanently, apparently. But you can super chat through, let me see, type in super. Through streamlabs.com/The Hake Report or Odyssey, odyssee.com/@The Hake Report. Anyway, what do you say? Let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how are you guys doing? I am fine. If you're not aware, just a little quick tip for you. You may not be aware, but the Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube account did get a strike on its account, so he's not streaming live on his YouTube account currently. I think it is a 7-day suspension. You know, they make up stuff. It's so dumb. And I think it may have been like a algorithm thing. Who knows? But they said, what did they say? It was something like harassment, cyberbullying, or threats, and none of which takes place on either the Hake Report nor the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. And by the way, I'm looking forward to hearing the update, which should come on Friday, about Nick's new show, the Anchor Baby's new show, coming up. Announcement forthcoming. I think about Friday it should be coming up. Very fun stuff. Hope you had a happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. I know I did. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about it later. But first, I want to tell you about some mess going on in the world. Miss you and the Bond experts on YouTube. I know, Janelle, nice to see you. Some mess going on in the world. Let me just hat tip to the great Rev CJ Connor over there on Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, follow him there. Rev CJ Connor, short for Reverend CJ Connor. Chris Connor. Shout out, man. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you. I'm planning to be actually still playing Christmas music. Did you know that Armenian Christmas, also known as Epiphany, is coming up on, what, the 6th? Something like that? January 6th is Armenian Christmas. Did you know? That's for the Orthodox Christians or something like that. And I love the Armenians, I guess. But anyway, he shared this tweet with me and this little tip. What do you think? Should she have resigned? And he shared me. I'm talking like a Mexican. A Fox News article, Louisiana judge using racial slurs on alleged home burglar. Ooh, called a home burglar a racial slur. If there's any time to say a racial slur, it's on a home burglar. Now she resigns, according to Fox News. Michelle ONENESS, purportedly a white woman. She was a judge for the Lafayette City Court. Lafayette is Louisiana. What a shame, huh? What's up, guys? Nice to see you over there on Odyssey, odyssee.com/@the Hake Report. Very cool. But look at this. Pretty woman. I mean, I'm not, you know me, I'm not for female judges, but I'm also not for resignations of female judges who say the N-word. Give me a break. Like you're so holy. Psh. In her letter addressed to the Louisiana Supreme Court Chief Justice John Weimer, according to Fox News, ONENESS, this Michelle ONENESS lady, judge lady, said she took full responsibility, quote unquote, for the hurtful words. Well, okay, if you're going to be like that, you might as well resign. Psh, make me want to spit. She used to describe an individual who allegedly burglarized vehicles in her home. Well, caught on camera, right? Allegedly. The video that cost ONENESS her job, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, appeared to be recorded on a cell phone. So what, like her son or daughter? Like, I picture like a daughter recording her mother saying this, which I don't know if this is a mother, and then like putting it out on social media, being a malicious to her mother. You know how people are so evil, especially blind, brainwashed minors. Well, more than just minors. She could be heard watching home surveillance footage on a television screen. A surveillance camera captured the attempted burglar, if I can pronounce it correctly, running across a driveway. I'm a little rusty since I haven't been hosting a show since like Christmas Eve, or since Christmas Eve, not like Christmas Eve. But I have been on some shows. I'm going to tell you about those. I've been interviewed. Listen to this. Yeah, stop apologizing to the blacks. Of course. Sideburn update. Yeah, I will be giving that soon as well. A surveillance camera captured footage of the attempted burglar running across a driveway at the ex-judge's home. Wow, ex-judges, how quickly things happen. In the Bendel Gardens neighborhood. Anybody familiar with Louisiana area? Is that probably pretty nice? Until at least two people tack the perp to the ground, the perpetrator. A female voice is heard describing the suspect using the N-word, which it seems pretty accurate, even if he's not black. And then comparing him to a roach. Well, it seems right. That's a time to say that. Here's a quote from her letter. I am sorry for the pain that I have caused my community, and I ask for your forgiveness. Big mistakes, both of those things. As my words do not foster the public's confidence and integrity for the judiciary, ONENESS wrote. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. You see how these judges talk? You see how these judges talk? It's ridiculous. When they're grandstanding about some crime or alleged crime that has been committed, or the January 6th, all these judges they start to, what might you call it, editorialize? They're not giving objective, dispassionate analysis of what's going on. They're effectively calling whites the N-word or the R-word and stuff like that. Remember when there was this January 6th protester who carried a Trump flag into the Capitol building? And I'm going to talk about the mess, January 6th. And this judge opined, meaning he gave his opinion, or her, female-minded judge, probably a male though, if I remember right, said that, since he brought a Trump flag, he was declaring his loyalty to Trump, not to the United States of America. That's dumb. That's basically calling this protester the N-word or worse. The R-word, racist, that's worse for a white to be called a racist than for a black to be called the N-word. Because you get called racist and other people believe it, you lose your job. You get called an N-word, and other people believe it, but still support you, right? And then the person who said the N-word gets fired. What a shame, huh? See, it's worse to be called racist than it is to be called the N-word for whites, right? Versus for blacks. Affirmative action. Anyway, she goes on. After much reflection and prayer, wrong type of prayer, woman, and in order to facilitate healing within the community, forgiveness is what is going to make them heal, which you should not apologize, in which case. I hereby resign as judge of the Lafayette City Court, effective immediately. 3 weeks after the video surfaced online, she resigned. More than 100 complaints. This was a report from Christmas Eve, I guess. More than 100 complaints filed in the Louisiana Judiciary Commission, according to the Advocate. Louisiana Governor John Edwards, is that John Bell Edwards, a Democrat? Disgusting. He called her for her to resign on December 16th. Other officials did, including the mayor of Lafayette. Who's the mayor of Lafayette? Is he black or is he a white simp? Mayor. Lafayette mayor. No, Todd Rosworski. 61-year-old Todd Rosworski. A Democrat. A male. Embarrassing. Evil, huh? Sick. And who else? A state senator for Louisiana called on her to resign. Video drew criticism on the national stage because, a white said the N-word in an appropriate context, right? Totally appropriate. It's behind closed doors. Somebody secretly recorded her, apparently. Well, I'm speculating as far as that goes. Maybe she knew she was being recorded. Saturday Night Live, Michael Che, the black guy, I think. He referenced it in his satire news segment. What a mess, huh? The NAACP of Lafayette chapter, Michael Toussaint, called for additional investigations, saying Michelle ONENESS, is it Michelle, her name? Yeah, her cases should be studied because maybe there was potential prejudice or bias against people of color. So evil. They're the criminals, and then we're getting punished for it. Shameful. We're, not me, but we'll see. She understood that many people in the community were horrified by what she had said, and she realized it would be difficult, if not impossible, to preside over cases and not have her impartiality questioned. Show her the picture of her again one more time. This is her lawyer. This is her on the picture if you're watching the video, but Dane Ciolino is being her lawyer, not doing her any favors by kissing up to the blacks. But look at her. She looks like she might be part, like, Italian or, like, part, I don't know, Hispanic or something. Because she's, I don't know, it's kind of dark brown hair or black hair. Whatever. She was a Republican, by the way. It was just the right thing to do, her lawyer said. That's not right. She previously served as a prosecutor for the DAs in New Orleans and Lafayette. She's been helping out, maybe. Louisiana Supreme Court already moved to temporarily disqualify her 2 weeks ago and named Vanessa Harris a black judge, a black female judge, unless it's a transgender, I don't know, to handle cases in her division until at least, so they replaced her with a black female. Even worse. You know how these if this black female is anything like the DA from New York, evil. Or the state's attorney from Chicago area, Kimberly Fox. Not a good replacement. City judges normally serve 6-year terms. Ridiculous, huh? Terrible. It's an attack on free speech. It's an attack on the whites. Yeah, this lady's pretty. She's a weak Republican. Or weak publican. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to get to your super chats, guys. Got a few coming in. But first, let me get to Rick from Maine on the line. Happy New Year, Rick from Maine. How are you doing?
Happy New Year, my friend. How are you? How was your New Year?
It was very nice, man. I got to hang out with friends. I got to get some days off, and it was cool. Yeah. Got even a little bit of sunshine. Nice.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
How about you?
One of the. Oh, not too bad. Wanted to let you know that I am on Rumble,
Okay.
and I am going by Daywolf.
Can you spell it for us?
Yep. Daywolf. Daywolf.
Okay. D as in dog. Day wolf.
Yep.
Okay. All right. As
Delta
opposed to
Alpha
night
Yankee.
wolf. Right on, man. Thank you for the update.
So-
I'm on Rumble too. I'm not very active on it, but I
Yeah.
occasionally will put up something. Bond Rebuilding the Man is on Rumble. I've been personally updating that because when I'm not hosting the Hake Report and updating stuff, I am the producer for Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, meaning I upload stuff on Rumble and BitChute and make sure it goes out online and write-ups and
Yep.
timestamps. Church with Jesse Lee
There you
Peterson.
go.
So there are links to that on
will do that.
rebuildingtheman.com/church. Cool.
I will do that.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah. YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Google, which is evil, which is YouTube, have been
Yeah.
clamping down on the freedom of speech. They don't really believe in telling the truth. They call it hateful or
don't.
something. Or they call it misinformation. When
Right.
sometimes it's clearly true information. It's just not the true information that they like you to hear. They like you to include
doesn't
all the other
conform.
stuff.
It doesn't conform to their agenda.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
It
there.
reminds me of when Trump said they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Yeah.
People falsely assumed that meant all of them are rapists,
Right.
meaning the people coming across from the Mexican border. But that's not what that means. It means that there are rapists among them. Duh.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Some are, and lots probably aren't.
Right.
So what's your New Year's resolutions, buddy?
Huh. Somebody else asked me this. New Year's resolution. I hadn't really thought about it, honestly. I don't know if I have any New Year's resolutions, but I would like to be resolved in pushing for what's right within myself.
There you go.
And, yeah, that would be nice.
That's what I'm going to be doing myself. I'm going to be doing as much as I can possibly do to improve the Second Amendment community.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
work with legislators to get things changed back to the way they are, the way that they were, because I miss my country.
I know.
And I really do want to get back to it.
You are a boomer, is that correct, or are you older Gen X?
65.
Okay, that's solidly boomer. Nice.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep. The generation that knows what respect is and knows what money is and how to get it legally.
Well, many of them anyway. That's true.
Work for it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I wish you well with that. I wish you stay healthy and all that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm still trying to figure out how to transfer my videos from YouTube over there to Rumble.
Yeah, you may
That's
have to
been a
just
challenge.
download them from YouTube and then upload them to Rumble. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Maybe the easiest way.
I'm thinking about that myself.
Yeah.
And I've been playing with it. I've only been on there for like 3 or 4 days, so
Yeah.
it's going to take me a little while to get things straightened out as far as that goes.
Some people were asking if JLP was streaming on Rumble. Not at this point. I don't know if he has that capability of doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, working on different options, guys. Working on different options. So
Oh, yeah.
updates
Now,
soon.
I've followed both you and Jesse, so
Nice.
you'll see that.
Right on. Well, thank you, Rick. It's good to hear from you. Merry Christmas
Yes, sir.
and
Have
Happy New
yourself
Year.
A fantastic day. Right
Thank you.
back at you.
All right, same to you. All right. Wow. Okay, let me read a few super chats and other chats, guys. I have lots to get to. And a quick announcement, too. Well, a little announcement in case you haven't been paying attention, since I haven't been streaming, about past interviews and some upcoming ones. But first, shout out to, by the way, your girlfriend. I don't know if I read this, your girlfriend, 10 days ago. I hope Louis is getting in the holiday spirit and is drunk on peppermint schnapps this morning. I think that was Christmas Eve. She said that. Yosef said, Merry Christmas, Hake. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, your girlfriend. Very nice to see you, by the way, on my Telegram. You can follow me on Telegram, t.me/The Hake Report. You can follow JLP Talk, t.me/JLP Talk. Those are the Telegram channels for Jesse Lee Peterson and for Hake. Willie Powell says, another great debate. Hake, congratulations. That's right. Thank you, Willie Powell. Did you know that I appeared on Modern Day Debate over, what was that? Sunday night or Monday night? Monday evening? Monday evening, a week ago, I appeared on Modern Day Debate once again for the third time so far. Because I appeared the first time debating Black Lives Matter with Brenton Langle. And then I appeared a second time on Modern Day Debate versus Infrared, debating against communism. And then I appeared just this past Monday against Mouthy Infidel. And he's a young man in his 20s, I want to say. And he's for socialism, and I was for capitalism, at least in this debate. And I think I am. I said Jesus is a capitalist. Is, key word, because Jesus lives. And Mouthy Infidel is like, I don't believe in God. And I'm like, exactly, because socialism is an atheist thing. Marxism, socialism, communism, all atheist. It's a fact. Look it up. Listen to the great Bill Lockwood on the Jesse Lee Peterson show last Tuesday of the month. And some of you guys are for like socialism if it's more nationalistic, where we take care of America first. I understand that, but that free stuff, man, it's debilitating. It's being spoiled. We need to just socialism, I think, not to be too cringy. I think that's what's, and commie capitalism. I'll admit, commie capitalism, same thing, honestly, is what caused prices to go up. And women working, which is the same thing, this dumb equality stuff. Women working, as Asmodor pointed out in the chat the other week, you increase the workforce by like 100% again. And then you have the market flooded with female workers. And then so the wages go down and prices go up because couples and so-called families can afford more. So they raise the prices more. So it makes it harder for the people who do want to do it right. A little harder, maybe a lot harder. I don't know, depending on how amazing you are at making money as a man. I know that real Vincent James, he doesn't let his wife doesn't work. I don't even know if she would want to. So it's doable if you are amazing at making money. So that's cool. But yeah, Mouthy Infidel, we were talking about all this free stuff for the blacks and all that stuff. The solution is morals, moral living. Anyway, you can call in if you disagree with me or if you agree with me. 888-775-3773. Thank you, Willie Powell, for checking it out. Appreciate. What a faithful friend, I guess. I guess so, yeah. All I Want for 2022 gave a super chat. Very generous. On streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Happy New Year! Did you know that 2022 is called the year of the full beard? Hashtag new beards resolution. Hashtag baby it's cold outside. Great show. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, All I Want for 2022. Does this count as kind of a beard? They call it a soul patch. And Big Bump sent in a super chat. He's all, sideburn update. They were looking quite clean yesterday in church. Thank you, man. Here's the update. You can kind of make out a little bit of sideburnish. Right? It's there. And if you squint, you can see it going all the way down. I feel a little bit of whiskers down all the way down here, like an inch below my, what is that, an inch below my ear? Oh, let me look on the other side. I feel it like, well, maybe that's a 3/4 of an inch below my ear. I'm getting it longer and longer and longer, but I want it to not look ridiculous in the meantime, right? Or does it just plain look ridiculous anyway? Well, if I have a soul patch, should I be concerned about looking ridiculous? But thank you. Shout out to Bibby42. Lord Bibby42 to you, that is. Nice. No, Hake, says Matt the American. It does not look ridiculous. Is that what you're saying? They're making their way. That does not count as a beard. Oh, okay. What a mess. Wow, Hake, you look just like Elvis with those sideburns. DJ On Paw says. Nice. I like Elvis. Or I liked him? No, I didn't like him because I wasn't aware. I think he died before I was born. But great singer. Great singer. Okay, so Based America First with a few great super chats states, great debate with Mouthy Infidel last Monday. He admits that socialism repeatedly fails, but like all socialists, asserts that his unique version will work. Then he says his version of socialism requires successful elements from capitalism, like unions. Except unions are socialists, Based America First goes on and states, and successfully increase costs. Yeah, good point. Unions, I mean, especially the union bosses. And I don't hold it necessarily against many of the union workers. Like, for example, I knew a teacher who's a Republican in California, and he's forced to pay dues to the union. Forced. And the union doesn't support anything good. Teachers' unions are disgusting. A lot of them are affiliated with, like, the mob or sleazy politicians supporting Democrats. They're going against what's right. Shameful. Mouthy Infidel excludes human labor as a means of production. Wow. Yeah, and implies that only employers benefit from employee labor. People work to provide value and trade for goods and services. And it's the curse of God. And you should embrace the curses of God, right? In the Garden of Eden, God said, by the sweat of your brow, you will eat, right? You'll have to work the land. And it's going to have thorns and stuff. It's going to be tough. But that's the curse of God. And people love work. You should love God's curses and blessings or whatever, right? Just like he told Eve, I was thinking about over the holiday, he told Eve, then I will get to your calls, guys. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. Did you know that it says that? He will rule over you. But then you ask these male preachers, grown adult male preachers, are you the head of your wife? Or JLP will ask that to preachers, and they'll say, yeah, but I don't rule over her. I don't dominate her. I'm not a tyrant. Well, you're going against the curse of God, which is a blessing. This is what she wants. It's the best thing. Shameful, huh? Based America First with another super chat regarding this debate last week. And you can find my debates by going to thehakereport.com/appearances or thehakereport.com, and you can find it. Excellent point that socialism is mama thinking. They must stamp out perceived inequality, and people must be happy at their jobs. Discontent is motivation to improve. Yeah, confiscation and redistribution eliminates productivity and increases laziness. And the human body, if you've ever been on vacation or sick at home or whatever, you'll notice that laziness creeping back. Creeping back. I was listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I'm on his network, as you may know. And earlier in the beginning of the show, he talked about how he was used to waking up at 3, and then he got used to sleeping in a little bit more during the Christmas vacation. They switched it from Christmas vacation to winter break. Shameful. Secularist. You're very wise, James. Thank you, Jib Jab. That's kind of you. You as well, sir. I think. Right? Gotta be. Appreciate it, man. Nice to hear you talk about the Bible. You do it in a way that's not preachy. Nice. Well, I appreciate that, Jib Jab. That's cool. So anyway, thank you guys for the super chats. I have more, actually, on Odyssey, odyssee.com/@ the Hake Report. That commie kid was ridiculous, says taking care of business. Yeah. Asmodor states, many prominent rabbis have stated communism is Judaism. Really? Wow. You know, that's interesting. Let me keep on reading your comment. But you can certainly make the argument that this is equivalent to communism is atheist, since Jews deny Christ and the Talmud won't make hell any less hot. Yeah, and you survey probably the average, most of these Jewish people, many of them are atheists, interestingly enough. The prominent ones, many of them are. Yeah, or else there are ones who are Jews, like religious so-called ones, and they're like bisexual, like that judge or the DA from, no, the AG from like Wisconsin or somewhere, or Michigan AG, I think. Let me see. Michigan AG. Dana Nessel. I talked about her. She's like, I think there was like a radical homosexual or a Times of Israel or something like that. How Judaism influenced this bisexual or lesbian lawyer to push for whatever, social justice, which is not justice, and it is communism. Interesting. Thank you, Asmodor. Yeah, that made me think about the great Bill Lockwood, who said that, what's that other one? Islam. Islam is communism in religious garb. Interesting. A false imitation of what's right. Only Christianity is the real one. Unrealist states with the super chat, a very generous super chat, rare footage of Civil War veterans doing the rebel yell, and he shares a YouTube video from Smithsonian Magazine. So I assume that it is indeed legit, and I shall share it with the other viewers on the other platforms other than Odyssey. But you can find that on Odyssey. Thank you, Unrealist. Appreciate the super chat and the tip. That's cool. The Rebel Yell. Remember that? I feel like there was a punk rock song called Rebel Yell. I wonder if it was as based as the Rebel Yell from the Civil War veterans. The opening line says, from the early 1900s through the 1940s, Civil War veterans were filmed, recorded, and interviewed at reunions, parades, and other patriotic events, where, as the century advanced, they came increasingly to seem like ambulatory trophies from some distant age of heroes. Man, what a shame. It's an exclusive clip from the 1930s Confederate veterans. Wow, set up to mic and let out their version of the fearsome rallying cry. Wow, that's cool. Appreciate that, man. I hadn't thought of that, but it was the 1930s or so, I want to say maybe 50s, that a lot of Confederate monuments were put up decades after the fact. And so as a testament to the greatness of the great Confederate and American hero, General Robert E. Lee, he did not want a monument to him. Yeah, Billy Idol had a song called Rebel Yell, according to Big Bump. Yeah, interesting. maybe I'm not sure. Billy Idol, was he degenerate? Is he degenerate? Is he still alive? But I was talking about where was I? I was talking about the monuments. Oh, yeah, Robert E. Lee didn't want one. He didn't want a monument. I think he was either humble or he thought it might be divisive or something. I don't know. But that shows you how great he was. A true American hero. And instead of embracing the beautiful South, many of whom are better men and women than us, we, meaning the Yanks, I guess, I don't know, the evil people, the anti-American people, really, it's not even Yanks, it's enemies of America, are calling them losers and traitors and terrorists and insurrectionists and all that stuff. Billy Idol was not morally straight, states Malkuth X. What a shame. Yeah, so evil. Show love. Let me get to Greg in Delaware. Nice to hear from you, Greg. How are you doing?
Hey, Happy New Year. I am fantastic.
Nice. Happy New Year to you as well.
Appreciate it. So the reason that socialism can never work is, how can I tell you what to do from Delaware?
Right.
Socialism relies on a very few people at the top telling everyone else what to do. And how does anybody know, like let's say you get some food from the grocery store and it's got a certain expiration date. Well, if it goes bad before that, you're going to either throw it out or use it right away. You know, like all that stuff is prescription stuff. Or take the COVID. You know, some people should get the shot, some people shouldn't get the shot. You can't have a one-size-fits-all. You know, it's just
right.
Crazy. And that's why socialism will never work, because Earth, how's that go? Heaven is it in Earth, and heaven as it is should be on Earth. You know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
Happen.
Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that can only come about when each individual does that, and each individual creates his own heaven as he does that, and each individual creates their own hell as they do not do that.
Okay.
And socialists don't account for that at all.
I know. Human nature is evil. It's lazy, it's evil, it's malicious, it's deceiving, it's dishonest. And socialism itself, as far as I've ever seen, is pushes that. What a mess.
You know the true story of the first Thanksgiving?
No. Tell us.
So the Pilgrims, as Christian as they were, still had a socialist bent to them. So they originally said, okay, we're going to just all collectively farm and build and so on. Well, the single guys are like, well, I'm not going to work that hard. What do I got to work that hard? You know, I'm going to support a family of 8 or something.
Yeah.
So their productivity was really poor. So then they finally said, we're going to scrap this and we're going to divide the land up and so on. And each person has their own parcel. And they had an overwhelming harvest.
Wow.
And that's the true story of the first Thanksgiving. And you can look it up. I mean, it's documented in many places. The late Rush Limbaugh used to tell it every year. That's where I first heard of it.
I think I might have heard of that from maybe Michael Medved. I don't know. But yeah, they tried socialism.
Yeah, and going to the, if you think about it, you had mentioned the Jewish people and socialism.
Yeah.
Their whole way of doing things, where you have these sort of leaders, and they have rules on this and rules on this and rules on this, that takes the spontaneity out of life. And it causes you to miss so many opportunities because,
right,
you know, something new may become, you know, in front of you. And if you're just going by some doctrine, you're going to completely miss it. So,
right. Yeah, man.
Anyway,
and you know what? You mentioned about people having like a one-size-fits-all type of thing and rule, centralized rule, which is what socialism is. It really is. One point that I remember from Bill Lockwood is that you want local control. With local control, you have more accountability and more response to the local politicians, who are themselves corrupt too, running the show. With the feds getting involved, or even the state getting involved, state people getting involved, you can't confront those people. You can't influence them. They don't care about you. They're more responsible or accountable to you when it's people in the area.
It probably. I grew up on a farm, and I was at one time the corporate research director for the largest farm magazine in the U.S. And one of the things I got to study quite a bit is how Russia did things farming versus us.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about farming, you've got local weather, you've got local soil types, you've got local, it's just all, I mean, even within, say, a 3-mile area, you could have completely different kinds of soil, completely different water tables, and all this sort of thing. So the Russians tried to, sort of mass farm, and they might be telling them to, say, plant when half the area was still too cold and the other half should have been planted a week ago. And they're just production, plus the workers themselves. I don't know if you ever heard the old Russian joke, they pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. But
right.
But the whole thing was just a mess. And I don't know if you remember, but you're too young, but back in the 70s and the 80s, we sold them a ton of wheat and corn and so on. And then once the fall of the Soviet Union happened and they opened up and then they had individual farmers, their productivity went up incredibly. So,
yeah.
And then my final argument is all you got to look at is public schools versus private schools.
Oh, yeah. True.
So the public schools spend much more money and get much worse education.
They don't care, to quote the line, 911 is a joke from, what was that, Public Enemy? They don't care because they stay paid anyway. That degenerate guy. That degenerate guy who was doing a dating show. They don't care because they get paid anyway. They don't have to produce. They don't have to produce.
Yeah, it's even worse than the Soviet thing. At least the Soviets didn't get paid not to produce. We're both paying them, and they don't produce.
Yeah.
So it's bad. Anyway, well, good luck in 2022. I hope things keep going on the up and up for you and the sponsors. How's that?
I appreciate that, Greg. Thank you. It's great to hear from you. Happy New Year and
too.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
All
Same
right.
to you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Before I get to this clip, I have a funny clip to share with you. A little bit more in the way of, I'm calling them, just live chats. Name states, you debated a kid, James. Your soul patch was older than him. And the guy can't even make his bed. I didn't notice his bed. Was his bed in the background and it wasn't made? I don't judge that. I mean, I did notice, though, name, to your point, that socialists, at least these ones, are not leaders. They're thinkers. And thinking is bad news. I wanted to make that point, but we ran out of time on the modern day debate thing. Flavor Flav, yeah. Thank you, Doom Jesus. Flavor Flav. The degenerate dating reality show black who was on Public Enemy, which was a rap group from the 90s or 80s or both. And they did like a duet with Anthrax. Duet's not the right word. Anthrax being like a metal band, I think. But he said 911 is a joke in your town. Get up, get down. Because you call 911 and the cops show up after the crime is committed. But what do you expect? That's what cops are for. I mean, you call them, their response time may be relatively quick or relatively slow. But that's why you're supposed to have, that's part of the reason why you're supposed to have the Second Amendment. It's a basic right. But the Second Amendment is also just to contain the government from ruling over you with an iron fist and all that mess. Anyway, thank you, name. Yeah, they're not leaders. They're quote unquote thinkers. Or talkers. A talker is not a leader. Necessarily, anyway. Yeah, thank you, name. I was actually excited for some JLP this morning. I was bummed, says Clever Swine. You can catch JLP by going to jesseleepeterson.com/show. jesseleepeterson.com/show. Don't be dependent on YouTube for your JLP content. We have many other ways that we stream. Some of them are more difficult or more difficult to stream than others. For example, Odyssey. odyssee.com/@JesseLeePeterson/live. Or for the Hake Report, at the Hake Report. But there are audio feeds, live audio. JLP Live, ! Is an app that you can download if you have an Apple device. Or just go to rdo.to/Jesse, Jesse. No I in Jesse. For one way to listen to the live feed. Or talkstreamlive.com. Download the app. Nicole R. states, Hake, look up Orthodox Jews protest against Israel. Not all Jews are pro-Israel or pro-Zionists. I find it super interesting. Well, interestingly enough, I don't know, I think the ones who are nationalistic, if you will, like Netanyahu, let's say. Netanyahu, tell me why I'm wrong, but I kind of like the guy. As they go, he was one of the leaders of countries who did not go against the right of, what was it, Hungary or Poland or one of these countries that was not for the same-sex marriage mess or the gay agenda, the LGBTQ mess that they're pushing. He did not try to force that on another country. And he was generally pro-Trump, although Trump felt betrayed because this guy was quick to congratulate sleazy Joe Biden on his quote-unquote victory after the election shenanigans. So I don't know. But thank you, Nicole R. Thank you for the tip. A lot of people think the Zionist is not just nationalist, and with reason. It's not just Israeli nationalists. It's also like they want influence on the globe, right? What a mess. That Sob, I'll just read it that way. That Sob gave a super chat on Odyssey with an Odyssey coin thing. Nice. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. That's cool. Netanyahu is the reason Austria is locked down and wrecking its people, says Pagan Bear. Really? He went to high school in the U.S., is hate speech. Really? I didn't know that he had any influence on Austria being locked down and wrecking its people. Austria or Australia? Or both? Really? Are you serious, Pagan Bear? I had not heard that. So maybe it's bad, but I like the fact that he did not like Obama, but he liked Trump. Whatever. Some people blamed the 9/11 on him. I'm like, what? Maybe. I don't know, though. Let me get to this story, though. This is mess. And I don't really have the real story, so I shall give you the fake story. This is clip 11 that I'm about to play for you. This was actually tweeted by a user on Twitter named Monty Sexton, whatever that is. And he's black, apparently. On black Twitter, I think. You know how we play out-of-control blacks? They play out-of-control whites, allegedly out-of-control whites. We have a lot more of the out-of-control blacks than the out-of-control whites. But he states this, watch till the end. And I will play this till the end. And I did not bleep anything because I listened through and I didn't notice any cuss words. But if some got through and I just didn't hear them, I apologize, okay? And it's a little violent. A black knocks out a white. Kind of hard to see, hard to look at, honestly, because he was just out. But this guy states, watch till the end. A drunk racist man. Oh, yeah, like that exists. And woman mad because this black guy is gold or diamond Hilton member. So this guy is a member, right? He has special privileges because he pays extra or maybe he just got it given to him at this fancy hotel, Hilton, right? And therefore, he gets service before everyone else. You know, somebody cuts in line, they're like, hey! A woman gets all mad. Or a drunk man will be a simp for his woman, be like, hey! Who knows what the backstory is, because we don't see the backstory on this story. But it's just a mess. Hotel staff are just sitting by and letting the racist woman do whatever, which is not exactly true. But they are doing kid gloves on her. And I noticed that the black guy was assaulted by the woman, which you were about to see, but he doesn't punch the woman, he punches the man. Mind you, she touched him prior. Hashtag Karen, which is a slur against white ladies. And this woman did not seem like a lady. Hashtag Hilton. So watch this clip, and if you know the backstory of it, you can let me know, but I don't know. I'm not really seeing the whole story. And this black guy, he's pretty big. And he knocks out the white guys. So it's a warning, violence warning, kids. And faint of heart. And people who just don't like to see this mess. But watch this. So there's a little commotion.
The situation because she's still right there, still talking.
Black guy recording.
Y'all supposed to separate the party.
That's true.
No.
Look at her. She's walking up to him. She grabs him.
Hey. Oh my God. Oh,
Boom, and he punches the guy instead of the girl. Punch the girl, not the guy.
Yep.
The guy's out
it's
now.
All on camera. This is all on camera. He touched him.
Out, by the way.
Yeah.
But he knows he's not supposed to hit a woman.
She touched him. It's
Evil.
all on camera. Everything is camera. Everything is on camera. Everything is
I don't
on
know
camera.
if the guy was in the wrong. I mean, the supposedly drunk guy.
Yes, everything is on camera.
And they are restraining the woman. She's just kind of out of control. They're being gentle with her. Is that a foreign woman? She sounds kind of Hispanic or something. Or
by moving the parties away.
European or something.
Right there. Why y'all still
Whoa.
Get her under. Where is y'all security? Get her under control. Yeah,
guy with
oh
long hair.
I don't
Big black guy with
understand
long hair.
this. This is
Bulky
crazy.
anyway.
Where's y'all security? No, because this is unacceptable. This is
This guy.
unacceptable.
Is
And
this
y'all
guy-
still haven't restrained her. Don't come over here, baby girl. Baby girl, I'm not him.
So this guy doesn't seem morally straight.
I'll grab her right by the neck.
Girl, I'm not him. But they need to restrain him.
It's not us. We're not.
I saw everything. It's so good. She's mad, but I need a room key. I just.
The white guy's getting up. That was good to see. Crazy. What a mess. Looks fake like a mug. No, it doesn't look fake to me. This must be Florida, says Raymond, 11. I know, they're all in their bathing suits. Well, two of them are. Drunk chick, says Ashy Dog. Yeah. Terrible. Yeah, the camera guy did not seem morally straight. But where's the evidence of racism in this? Stupid. If anything, the black guy hit the white guy all too quickly. But the white woman, supposedly white woman, laced her fingers around the back of the black guy's neck like she was all mad at him. What prompted her to get all mad? Over dramatic. Exactly. That hotel is sloppy. I agree, Dr. ADD. They totally should have separated them. Anyway, that's a bunch of mess. But it's funny because some dumb guy tagged me in this. He's this man was calm and got attacked by a white thug couple. Well, apparently it wasn't calm if he was all that ready to punch out a guy who wasn't even attacking him. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it. He's going there, and he wasn't doing anything. He was just in the background, and he stood forward, and he put out his hand, and the guy punched him. When I looked at it, those with the ability to expose it as evil would show these videos too, not instead of just ones with the blacks only. So that's an example of whites allegedly doing wrong. What? Instead of ones with the blacks, why not call out all evil? It's an agenda over truth, says this dumb guy. Which, that's a lie. That's a lie. We point out all evil. And the reality is, the blacks are hating the whites. And the women are allowed to go wild. Yeah, he punched her man. Yeah, that's what happened, Janelle. I stand with the black guy in the video. It says everything is fake. Simp! You shouldn't stand with any of those because you have no idea what's going on. Except for a black dude physically attacked a white guy who was not doing anything except for his girlfriend or whatever she was acting a little out of control and assaulting him, the black guy. What a shame. Anyway, that's that for that. It's ridiculous. So evil. Evil in the world. Watch yourselves. Watch yourselves. Because people escalate fast, especially nowadays. People are angry and evil, and they'll flip on you. They'll turn on you. Yeah, I agree. The drunk woman, if anybody should have been punched at all, it was her because she was assaulting him. She was like lacing her. Not that she could do anything to that big guy, big black guy. So whatever. Yeah. Terrible. If the black guy punched the woman, he probably would have done a lot more harm. Yeah. It was unnecessary, though. It's a mess. Diversity. So good, though. Quick super chat, or a chat anyway, reading the chat. Chris Goward says, Hake, are you a oneness guy when it comes to God and Christ? I have never heard of being a oneness guy, but when he said, I and my Father are one, united, kind of like we in the church is supposed to be united. We are one in him. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that he's the same person. If that's what you're asking. If that's what you're asking. Terrible. Just stay at home, no problem, says Robert Lee. I don't know, man. I don't know if I would encourage that. Ridiculous. Update from Pagan Bear states with a link. Austria's chancellor says Netanyahu shocked him into tough moves to stop the virus. Sebastian Kurz, young looking guy, says the Israeli prime minister warned Europe was underestimating the threat and urged him to wake up and take action. Well, honestly, if you take advice, even if it's bad advice, can you really blame Netanyahu for that, or the simp who took the bad advice? I don't know, man, thank you for sharing with me the explanation. You underestimate this in Europe. Wake up and take action, Netanyahu allegedly said. What a mess. And that was a report from the 22nd of March of 2020. So at the very beginning, Netanyahu told him, this is when everybody was freaking out. It was like the 14th of March or the mid-March, right? Mid to getting to late March, when we had the 2 weeks to slow the spread of 2020, right? Almost 2 years ago. Yeah, I got a new sticker. Almost 2 years ago, they shut it down. On March 11th, Austria was still allowing gatherings of up to 500 people outdoors, and schools remained open. By March 15th, it banned all gatherings of 5 or more people and shut schools. Austria. What a shame. I know some Austrians who moved to America. Some of them were communists, and then they became pro-America. So, I don't know. I don't really blame Netanyahu for that. We need better criticism of Netanyahu, in my opinion. In my opinion. But thank you, man. Appreciate that. I will get to more of your calls, guys. Bob in Chicago wants to talk about that oneness doctrine thing. Jesus is God, y'all. As far you know, says Mr. Casco. No, man. Taking the last part of the Lord's Prayer where it says, lead us not into temptation. God doesn't do that, and isn't that Satan who does the tempting? I suppose so. But that's because he already does it. I think it's kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I will get to more of your calls, but I have a Christmas song or two to share with you. Are you going to hold it against me? Well, I'm going to do it anyway. For playing a Christmas song, this is from going back to Sufjan Stevens. Yeah, the liberal. This is very brief versions of Hark the Herald Angels Sing and O Come Emmanuel. Hope you enjoy it. Epiphany is coming up. Shout out to Based America First. Thank you, sir, for the heads up. Epiphany is January 6th. That's the real anniversary that we should be celebrating. Epiphany. Epiphany, I think, is the celebration of, I guess that's when the Magi, the 3 wise men, we 3 kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we travel afar. And they went and saw Jesus. So Epiphany is coming up January 6th. It's better than pretending, oh, we had the insurrection, January 6th. And what else? That's also Armenian Christmas, I guess. The Armenians, I think they're Orthodox or something like that. They celebrate Christmas on January 6th, I heard from my former coworker, Andranik. Very cool. So guys, enjoy Sufjan Stevens, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and O Come Emmanuel. And I'll be right back for hour 2. Hang tight, guys. Nice. Wasn't that nice? This is different from what I was expecting, states Lord A.O. Nice. Thank you, Lord A.O. Correct grammar. A lot of people say different than. It's not different than. It's different to, if you're British, or different from, if you're American, or whatever. Yeah. How can I watch this morning's Jesse's show? Ya mugs, asks Joe Mad. You can catch it. Yes, JLP is on Rumble. I don't know about his full shows. I don't know if his full shows are on Rumble, but I believe that his producer does upload many videos to Rumble. Jesse Lee Peterson on Rumble. But you can catch by going to his website, jesseleepeterson.com, jesseleepeterson.com/show, and that's the ways to catch his show on Twitter, on DLive, Trovo, Odyssey, ODYSEE.com/at the Hake. I mean, not the Hake Report, at Jesse Lee Peterson. Audio podcast. The Jesse Lee Peterson Show is available on audio podcast. Listen to it there. Whether Spotify or Apple Podcasts or even Google Podcasts. Did you know Google has podcasts? And so does Amazon. I think it's on Amazon Podcasts and others. So even the RSS feed, as well as highlights. So, cool. Anyway, I hate Christmas, though. Like Hake hates us, says Misty8976. I know. One guy, Misty says, one year I had a tree up until March. Wow. Yeah, I think I was playing Sufjan Stevens' Christmas songs one year until like February. Terrible. Is it? I don't know. Peter from Periscope with the super chat. New Year's resolution for Hake, run a 9-minute mile. Huh. That's an interesting resolution, man. I think I could do that too. Every day, you saying? I got close to 9-minute 2-mile. I think I did a 3,000, which is like 200 meters less than roughly than a 2-mile in roughly like 9 minutes or something like that. It was 9:21. Back in high school. And I remembered something about it, but I think I'll spare you that detail. But that was up in like Chico area, up visiting family, friends, up in kind of NorCal. Is that NorCal? I don't know. Central Cal? Something. A 9-minute mile. That's a nice idea. Thank you, Peter from Periscope. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got to keep on working on being fit, getting strong now, to quote the Rocky song. I did my best times when being chased, says Reg Laser. Okay, so let me get to Bob in Chicago, Illinois. Bob, thank you for holding. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, first of all, the music was nice. I like instrumentals are great. You don't.
Yeah, then you don't have to
they're
put
not
up
like
with
overly feminized talking and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But anyway.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify what I think the guy asking the question was the oneness.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a United Pentecostal Church, apostolic, a believer, and it's basically the oneness doctrine is Jesus is God on steroids. So in the Trinity,
on steroids,
the Trinity believes that Jesus is God, but basically just the Son, right? You got God the Father God, God the Son God, and God the Holy Spirit God.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The Pentecostals or the oneness people, they believe that Jesus is the Father. He's God completely. It's undiluted, right?
Yeah.
So that's where they come from. They also are the ones that are really adamant about speaking in tongues and being slain in the Spirit.
Oh.
And things of that nature.
Yeah.
So what I think you are, and this is what I am anyway, would be today called a biblical Unitarian. In other words, you believe there's only one God, the Father, right?
Yeah.
And then everything else is either in God or of God or not of God, right? So that's how, as best as I can tell, that's how I would classify your belief, and maybe Jesse's. In other words, only one God, and then you got...
And Jesus is his son.
Yeah, his son.
Yeah.
And Jesus was in God and of God and obeyed God and all that kind of stuff. And God actually gave him authority, right? It wasn't like he had it on its own. So I just wanted to clarify, when people ask if you're oneness, that's basically Jesus is God on steroids. And I don't think you are.
All right. So you're
anyway,
saying that Jesus is on steroids and he's God, he's like God, but super God? Is that's what they think?
No, the Trinity kind of has a diluted thing, right? That Jesus is God the Son.
Uh-huh.
The oneness people think that they think that God is only one, but Jesus is that one God. So.
Oh, okay.
Am I kind of making it clear? That the Trinity.
So that Jesus is God thing, but on steroids.
Yeah, in other words.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah,
all
the
right.
Trinity's on steroids too, but the oneness people are like totally, Jesus is God the Father. That's, the Trinitarians don't believe that.
Okay.
So they go a step further. Anyway.
All right.
So I would call myself a biblical Unitarian.
I mean, that's what Jesus is quoted as saying, that he does nothing except for what the Father tells him.
Yeah.
And he says nothing but for what the Father tells him.
Right, and God in Christ, right? It's always God in him or working through him. It's not originating from Jesus, it's originating from God.
Yes,
it's like
from
our
the Father.
relationship with, right. When we are in God, he's calling the shots, right? So
yep.
Except Jesus, of course, did it much more efficiently, effectively, and
he's
was preordained to do so from the beginning.
He's the only begotten Son. We're adopted.
Yeah, or the original begotten, or right.
Yeah,
anyway,
we were born
I
again.
just wanted to. So I do not think
we are
a oneness believer. So
okay. Well, I appreciate that, Bob from Chicago.
Okay.
Nice to hear from you, man. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
All right. ADHD 777 says, I believe Jesus is God the Father. Wow, what a mess. Well, don't get sucked into all that mess. Stick with what you know. Stick with what you know. Lots of mess going on out there. You know, they're really going after the... Let me just switch this thing. They're really going after the mostly peaceful January 6th protesters and anybody who supports them, it seems like to me. Did you guys hear that Twitter over the holidays banned Marjorie Greene? And I call her Marjorie Greene because Taylor is her maiden name, I think. And she shouldn't be going by Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, yeah, it's more recognizable, I guess. But it's kind of like I used to think the name, what's that guy who hyphenated his last name for his wife out of Los Angeles County here, the black guy? Mark Ridley Thomas. Like, oh, that's a kind of a catchy name. Except you find out that his wife's maiden name was Ridley. So he hyphenated his last name. The man, male anyway. Anyway, so Marjorie Greene, she was banned on Twitter. Her personal account was banned on Twitter. According to Morning Brew, which is the only really report I read about it, gave me a little bit of details, and I read about it in Hake News, that she said something like, the vaccines are failing. Well, that's not true, is what the side of Twitter states, because by and large, the vaccines are not failing. They are helping prevent severe disease and death. Something like that is what they're claiming. Well, that's one thing that she said back in August. She got her 5th strike. You get 5 strikes on Twitter. Talk about lame. Anyway, she stated, before COVID, reported deaths from vaccines were taken seriously and dangerous vaccines were stopped, she claims, which I don't know if that's true. Maybe it was. After COVID, extremely high amounts of COVID vaccine deaths are ignored, is what she states, which I, of course, disavow that because I don't support misinformation. But I don't know what the truth is, because the people who are banning misinformation are supporting Black Lives Matter or the Me Too movement, which there's no basis in truth for Black Lives Matter or Me Too, because there's no proof of the Me Too accusations for the most part. And and by and large, the Black Lives Matter have pretty much all been showing the blacks to be more out of control than the cops. The cops may overreact or choke under pressure or whatever. But you see, by and large, it's been the blacks been resisting arrest or whatever. The Black Lives Matter, whatever they're called, martyrs. What a shame. They're using their name Martyr. Martyr was the last name of a guy, I think. What was it? Fox's Book of Martyrs? It was a Christian thing where it talked about Stephen. You know, the Stephen, the Christian preacher, was the first martyr. He was killed by men whose cloaks or whose jackets were being held by Saul of Tarsus, who became the Apostle Paul, right? And so he stood by as Stephen was being stoned, like with rocks, killed. They threw stones at him, not drugs. And he died, and he talked about seeing God and Jesus, I think, up in heaven. Well, right on to Stephen, doing right, even to death. Wow. But now they're calling these people martyrs for the cause. Ridiculous. But they use that because martyr, being killed for what you believe in, is kind of inspiring. Except these people are not being killed for what they believe in. What do they believe in? I guess they are being killed for what they believe in. Because what do they believe in? Resisting arrest and not wanting to go to jail? I don't want to go to jail, is what some of these blacks are saying on live streams that they're doing. Even the guy who got shot in the back by the cop after running, being tackled and fighting with the cop and then running again, the cop shoots him in the back, Michael Slager, over in one of the Carolinas. Walter Scott got shot in the back. And it seems like he didn't want to go to jail or pay child support, which I'm not supportive of child support. That's wrong. But that's not the way. You don't run from cops and fight with cops. He was not going to die that day. Hake's beard is a martyr. Terrible. Terrible stuff. So these people, Twitter and all them, they don't support the truth. They support misinformation and disinformation and division and actual insurrection and incitement to violence because they're supporting Black Lives Matter. People say, well, that's whataboutism. No, it's reality. Because the reality is this fake insurrection thing and the China virus mess, that is melodrama. That is mama, communist control stuff. Mama drama, to quote Lin Yan-Chin. Is he still around? Twitter banned Trump nearly 1 year ago, our real president, while in office, in his last 2 weeks of office, over the risk of further incitement to violence. He did not incite violence. He said, go home, be peaceful, we need peace. He says, I know such and such thing was stolen, he claims, right? Whatever. But you're not allowed to even say that it's stolen because that's incitement to violence. That's misinformation that leads to violence, to harm. That's harmful misinformation. Terrible, huh? And they're saying stuff about the vaccines. They're not for the truth. Marjorie Greene said, Twitter is an enemy to America and can't handle the truth. Her rep MTG is still active, but her MT Greenie, 2 E's at the end, after the N, and before the N. I did not know that, but it is. What a mess, huh? Banned on Saturday. Happy holidays, huh? What a shame. What a terrible shame. And I have more information. She's not the only one who was suspended. Judicial Watch. Tom Fitton. You know Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch? He's that guy who's all buff now. I chuckle because it's just kind of funny to me how buff he is. He's a lawyer, but he's the head of Judicial Watch. And he's the guy who's like, he was helping Trump because Trump was helping America, and he was opposing the liberals because the liberals are against America. And he's done all sorts of things to help, right? According to the Daily Beast, Tom Fitton, the latest right-winger banned from TikTok, the Chinese platform. Roger Stone was also dumped from the platform, by the way. What a shame. Banned due to multiple community guidelines violations. Yeah, right. Like Tom Fitton, an upstanding, somewhat conservative lawyer guy, is really going to violate community guidelines. Communists, Fitton writes, running TikTok, just permanently banned my account. No warning. Daily Beast is evil, too. Nice t-shirt, says Vex Apparel. Thank you. I got it from Joshua Tree. It's a Joshua Tree t-shirt. I wore this on one of my debates, I think. Yeah, terrible. What a mess. Roger Stone also banned back in like October. And YouTube removed a Joe Rogan podcast. Wow. Joe Rogan being a competitor of mine, a fellow podcaster, if you will. He does these long interviews, like 3 hours long, or plus or minus, right? Some of them more interesting than others. He smokes pot, by the way. But he's like a liberal. Loved Obama, loved Bill Clinton. But he interviews people who have all sorts of different ideas. And interestingly enough, the more somewhat conservative or skeptical about the vaccines, those are the ones that get removed. Interesting. The post-millennial says, big tech site, YouTube has removed Joe Rogan's interview with Dr. Robert Malone. You guys heard of him? I saw a video of his, a short clip of his interview in which I didn't even hear Joe Rogan talk. But this guy, Robert Malone, was talking about how Nazi Germany was reportedly or allegedly mass brainwashed or something. He called it something like mass formation hypnosis or something like that in the 20s and 30s. American society, he drew parallels between American society and Germany because the American people, just like the German people, fleeced, got the raw end of the deals amid all these evil wars. Evil wars. He said, very intelligent, highly educated population. They went barking mad, according to him. How did that happen? Mass formation psychosis. Oh, okay, not hypnosis, but same thing. When you have a society that has become decoupled from each other, free-floating anxiety, things don't make sense, we don't understand it, attention gets focused by a leader or a series of events on one small point, just like hypnosis, they literally become hypnotized and can be led anywhere. Well, if you look at the China virus, and the women especially, the women are the most scared, and the men are too weak to be like, calm down, it's not a big deal. And the female-minded liberal males acting like this China virus is something that everybody should fear, when in reality, it's not something to fear, it's something to deal with responsibly, just like everything in life. You don't cough on old people, for example. Have some distance from people. Personal space, we used to call it, until some people from other cultures seemed to want to invade that personal space. What a mess, huh? Shameful. He said, I try really hard to give the information and help them to think, not to tell them what to think, he said, this Robert Malone guy. And I think is he the one who invented the mRNA technology? He didn't get kicked off, but, well, actually, he got kicked off at Twitter, I heard. Crazy. What a mess. What a terrible mess. But, also, Grabian. Twitter suspended Grabian. Did you hear about that? Grabian, they just gather clips. Tom Elliott is the founder of Grabian. They posted, according to the Epoch Times, they posted a video of, what is it called? I don't know. I'm blanking on it now. Let me see if I can, oh, wrong one. The Epoch Times, okay. Grabian News suspended by Twitter for posting a video of a U.S. congressman criticizing pharmaceutical corporations, its founder said. Tom Elliott wrote on Twitter, December 31st, New Year's Eve, Grabian was suspended for citing comments by Representative Andy Biggs, he's a decent guy, I think, of Arizona, about the China virus treatments. Big Pharma won't consider therapeutics like HCQ, which I disavow, of course, or ivermectin, which I disavow, of course, because of economic interests, the Post reads. It had an attached link to a video containing the congressman's comments. It's a congressman saying it, and Twitter is taking the initiative to ban it. Crazy, huh? And he was banned. Crazy. Ridiculous stuff going on. Google is hiding mass formation hypnosis too, I heard. Yeah, crazy stuff going on. Did you hear about this? Speaking of this China virus hype. And then I will get back to more calls in your super chats, guys. You can call in. 888-775-3773. But listen to this. I told you about this in Hake News a little bit. Excuse me. The CDC is reconsidering one of its more controversial aspects of its new rule. You know how all these flights were being canceled over the holidays? Because what is that? They were saying, oh, these people are coming down with, crew members are coming down with the China virus. They're coming down with the China virus. And they're having to be on quarantine for like 10 days. It's ridiculous, huh? Well, they said, no, let's do 5 days. After 5 days, you're no longer shedding so much. You're not as contagious, and we need to be functioning. Well, they said, no, that's not good. You should be tested. According to Dr. Fauci said yesterday, that's that evil guy who was in the Trump administration, and now he's in the Biden administration. He hated Trump, and he loves, like that lesbian LSD woman, Rachel Maddow. Dr. Fauci, big fan of hers, big fan of Hillary Clinton, too. Dr. Fauci. He even loved when she mocked the notion of finding out what happened with the 9/11 2012. Evil woman. She's all, what difference at this point does it make? When the Muslim ISIS or something attacked Benghazi and killed 4 Americans, I think. Dr. Fauci said, oh, you did wonderful. I love you, to Hillary Clinton. He's such a simp. Anthony Fauci, weasel. But he said yesterday on a Sunday show, I think, that health officials are looking. He loves being on TV, it seems like. He's 80 or something like that. Pretty healthy looking for 80, but immature is what it strikes me. And of poor humor when confronted with the truth, it seems like. Wow. He said they're looking at adding a negative test requirement after 5 days of quarantine. Under existing guidance, you can emerge from isolation without showing a negative test. According to the CDC, that's because PCR tests could potentially show a positive reading for up to 12 weeks after you've been infected. 12 weeks? Imagine 12 weeks of quarantine. That's ridiculous. Misty, calm down with that talk. Misty. Yikes. Misty, chill out. Talking about Hillary. Hillary, to quote my friend who thought that she would win, and I bet him against Trump, Hillary kills people. It's not the other way around. Anyway, according to the CDC, plus she supports abortion. According to the CDC, PCR tests could show a positive reading for the China virus up to 12 weeks after infection. That's crazy. You want them to quarantine? It's ridiculous. Anyway, rapid tests aren't designed to indicate whether you're contagious or not. Yeah, good point. The reduced isolation time is intended to prevent mass societal disruptions. You've already done that. We didn't need these shutdowns, but you did them. Caused by quarantining workers. For instance, at least 13,000 flights. This is from the Morning Brew. It's a news outlet. I get their emails, right? Oh, Lord. I'm just looking at the chat. The new looser guidelines from the CDC have been met with considerable pushback from the commies, the female-minded libs, who are afraid of the virus or just want control and want to spread misery and want desperation. They want the system destroyed so they can rebuild in their image. Put more people under what? I guess, what would you call it? Dependency? Being controlled by the government? Or being controlled by these people who want control? Hand rubbing intensifies. Yeah, exactly. 13,000 flights were canceled since Christmas Eve, in part due to the Omicron-induced staffing issues. And from what I understand, this Omicron thing is not, for the most part, all that serious compared with other ones like Delta. Delta is the India mutation. China virus cases. I always say that because they're drumming up cases. And now, interestingly enough, there are mainstream outlets agreeing with me that this cases hype, this cases numbers thing, cases exploding, is not as serious as actually like the deaths or the actual hospitalizations. Not you go to the hospital for something else and they check you and you happen to have it. That's not a real hospitalization from the virus, but they're counting them wrong. Yeah, cases don't even necessarily mean infection, says Based America First. Yeah. In Florida, cases have risen 948% over the past 14 days. It's a lot. But how about severity? How about actual severity? Severity. In meaning, how severe is it? 70% hospitalizations were for some other cause. Wow, 70% of those hospitalizations were for some other cause. You break your arm or something, you go to the hospital. Some people don't even go. And you test positive, but you're not even showing any symptoms. Ooh. Colleges are shutting down. Ridiculous. Careful, Hake, on Hillary. You might end up dead. Dead! Dead! The U.S. is also facing a COVID-19. That's the China virus. It's a globalist term for the China virus. Test shortage. The Biden administration, you know, Sleepy Joe, he promised to send out 500 million free tests to American household. Unclear when those would arrive. Yeah. Give me a break. Commander Kim says the PCR test, which determined the cases, was just retired by the CDC at the end of the year, 2021, because Commander Kim claims they're inaccurate. Or they have, you know, limited accuracy, which is another way of saying oftentimes they are inaccurate. Yeah. Terrible. That's funny. Thank you, Pagan Bear. Thanks for joining the chat there. Fundraising for testing equals more reported cases. Wow. Or funding for testing. Did I say fundraising? More reported cases, the same as last year. I know. Trump was going after Biden. This wasn't his strongest criticism, but this was the criticism he gave. Maybe he's trolling. He said Biden, he put out a statement. Biden has more cases than ever. More cases than ever. But cases doesn't mean death. But I think more people have died of this China virus under Biden, which is honestly what a virus is supposed to do. Aren't they supposed to increase like exponentially or something, at least for a little while? It's ridiculous. They're supposed to die. I mean, that's how it works with a virus, right? That's all I mean by that. It's ridiculous. It's shameful. And they're going after Americans with this stuff. Look at this headline. Talking about this January 6th melodrama, jumping back to it. I can't get over how evil they are. Going after the January 6thers. Sixers? The most peaceful Capitol protests. Here's this Capitol Police chief. I guess he's the new one. Capitol Police chief. Manger? I thought they replaced him with a black woman, but who knows? New Capitol Police Chief, Manger, works to restore morale and readiness of the force after the January 6th breakdowns. I think they weren't ready to begin with. And Trump wanted more. He wanted a National Guard, 10,000 people there. But he didn't get it for some reason. They didn't give that to him. He wanted law and order. He's a law and order guy. He says that they've taken important steps on intelligence and preparation for future incidents. Ridiculous. And the Washington Compost had this headline: since January 6th, the pro-Trump internet has descended into infighting over money and followers. Pro-Trump and QAnon influencers. I don't even know if I know a QAnon influencer. Have squabbled bitterly over online audiences in the year since Trump left office. They're, quote, desperate for money, unquote. And there's only so many people you can fleece, says one researcher. It's a write-up by Drew Harwell. And this is in tough times, people will infight. People will infight. And that's why you have to stick with, this is what I say. You have to stick with calmness and like real love, where you don't get into that mess with people. Because there's a lot of anger and passions flying around. Meanwhile, they're knocking down people. General Flynn they went after. Trump they went after. That My Pillow guy they went after. They went after Nick J. Fuentes. They went after Alex Jones. Who shot Ashley Babbitt, asks Zane Underwood. I think it came out that it was Mike Byrd, B-Y-R-D. And it wasn't a white guy. I think it was a black guy. It seems like it was an attack on Trump supporters, really. According to Elijah Schaefer, who was not really on their side. He was just documenting. He's a journalist. And I consider him, I don't know, like a center-left. Tries to be an honest guy, gets emotional. Might be kind of conservative in some senses. I had to unfollow him because I followed him on IG, Instagram, and I don't go on IG much, but I went on there and he posts like disgusting stuff on there. And he's like not for it. It's like people are like cross-dressers and showing like too much skin and they're not attractive at all. Just being gross and vulgar. So I had to unfollow him on at least one of my accounts. Maybe on both. But I am a fan of this guy, I think. Elijah Schaefer, slightly offensive. He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and maybe the Fallen State. But he was there on January 6th at the mostly peaceful Capitol protest. Some people got out of hand. There were some people instigating. It was a setup, as we all know. And by the way, quick little announcement, I'm going to be on another Hippy Dippy podcast. Did you know that? Hippy Dippy Roundtable. I feel silly saying it. But remember several weeks back now, I was on the Hippy Dippy Roundtable talking about abortion and Kyle Jack Bauer, John Wick Rittenhouse with 7 or 8 other people. I think there was 8 of us. And we talked about something else. I forget what it was. But we talked about a few different topics. Well, on the 7th, which is, I believe, this Friday, from 5 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, 3.5 hours, I'm scheduled to be on the Hippy Dippy Roundtable. Hippy Dippy Roundtable to talk about the anniversary of January 6th. I heard maybe Destiny will be on there, too. What a mess. We'll see how it goes. No, Robert Lee, that guy, Elijah Schaefer, he's married to a woman. Anyway, yeah, he's a nice guy. I think. But it's ridiculous. They're calling these insurrectionists. Some people were acting out. I heard that they claim that 150 cops or 100-something cops were injured. Well, they might not have been injured had we had actual security, like what Trump wanted. Like 100,000 or 10,000, I think 10,000 National Guard there. Or if things were on the up and up, that people could see for themselves that it was on the up and up, so that they wouldn't have been so riled against the government, right? Against the corruption that they felt was going on or suspected was going on. And they call it the big lie. Trump is going to repeat the big lie. He's doubling down on the big lie. The big lie. Stupid. The big lie is anger, that you have a right to it. And these people are pushing it against the best people, against coming down hard on Trump and his supporters and even non-supporters, people who are just regular Americans. I'll strike the shepherd and the sheep will be scattered is, I think, a quote in the Bible, which is you cut off the head, you take away the leader, quote unquote leader, and the people infight and separate and are not united. That's why the Bible is constantly talking about division in the church and infighting and gossiping and busybodies and backbiting and anger and bitterness and suspicion and all that stuff. Mess. Rather than love, unity, truth. What a mess. So this January 6th protest was a setup, and they're milking it. It's ridiculous how badly they're milking it. Subpoenas, they're trying to subpoena people. forced Republicans to cooperate. Some archivist claims that Donald Trump is hiding, according to Drudge, to avoid prison time. Like I believe that. I don't buy that. Ashley Babbitt. Did you hear that nervous Nancy Pelosi is going to hold several different events to remember, to memorialize the January 6th thing? That's ridiculous. Let me see if I can find that for you. January 6th, according to, where did I hear this? Morning Brew. House Speaker Nervous Nancy Pelosi has set up a series of events, according to The Hill, to mark the January 6th anniversary. So evil. This woman should be kicked out of the government, not Trump. How crazy, isn't that? That we get no representation. Trump was trying to be representative of the people, right? Kicked out. Marjorie Greene, which she's a woman. I'm not for women politicians, but she's stood up for she's been the most vocal member, I think. Well, at least she's been the most focused on in the media anyway. For the January 6th people who are rotting in jail. Yeah, Ashley Babbitt was not attacking cops. She jumped through a thing. She shouldn't have jumped through it, granted. And the cop shot her in the neck or head or shoulder or something, killed her. And that cop was, I think, a coward. He was an affirmative action cop, too. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced in a letter to colleagues on this past Thursday, apparently, that historians John Meacham and Doris Kearns Goodwin are slated to participate in one of the events organized at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th to mark the one-year anniversary of the deadly riot. Nobody died except Trump supporters, including the cop who died. And then there were some cops who committed suicide afterwards, but cops are constantly committing suicide. You don't know what the cause of that is. Maybe they were guilty at how they treated their fellow Americans. Who knows? You know? Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, will participate. It will moderate their discussion to establish and preserve the narrative of January 6th. See? It's not necessarily the winners who write the history books. It is the propagandists, the sleazy people. Because these people aren't winning. They're just being evil. Meacham, this historian, John Meacham, he endorsed Sleazy Joe, by the way, and he spoke at the Democrat National Convention last year, or 2 years ago. And it's ridiculous. Phony historians, they're not real. All events will be live streamed so that members can watch and participate from their districts. It's ridiculous. And I don't think the normal people even care about this whole thing. They're like, oh yeah, it was kind of bad, I guess. It was kind of bad, I guess. That's about the extent of it. But the Democrats are just milking it like crazy because they hate you. They hate Trump. They hate real Americans. Wow, 1 year since that whole thing went down. Supporters of former President Trump stormed the Capitol in an effort to disrupt Congress. That's more accurate, to disrupt Congress. To protest, like many have protested and disrupted before. They disrupted the confirmation of, I think, that one guy who likes beer, Kavanaugh. I call him a simp. This simp who likes beer, I like beer, who became a Supreme Court justice, is it John Kavanaugh? Brett Kavanaugh. Thank you. John Kavanaugh was is an Arizona guy, I think. He's a decent guy, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are the rhinos on this J6 Unselect Committee. Just evil, huh? So we have a lot of evil to look forward to in 2022. Can you believe it? Yikes. They're investigating the riot, and they're getting criticism from some Republicans. But the Republicans they're not solid people. They're not solid people at all. Shameful. Ashley Babbitt was an Air Force veteran. Served in Iraq. A female veteran. But Air Force, you expect them to be in the Air Force. She voted for Obama, I heard, according to Yahoo News and AFP. AFP is a French outlet, far-left French outlet. She voted for Obama, and then she was a Trump supporter. Many such cases, by the way. A lot of Trump supporters were former liberals. Some voted for Hillary. There are some pro-white people who voted for Hillary and then switched. Or kind of switched, I don't know. Some of them stayed kind of liberal, to be honest. Terrible. 35 years old, dead. Did you guys catch, what's his name, Tucker Carlson's thing on the January 6th thing? Patriot Purge? What a mess. I'm voting for Hillary, says Misty. It's all about health, Hake. 10 days to 5 days. What the? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, guys, some super chats for you. Or for me, thank you. Asmodor states, tell the hippy-dippy people that LGBTQ is wrong because of all the homo stuff they do. Yeah. That guy, he did I'm talking about Dylan Burns, who is host of the Hippy Dippy Roundtable. Young man. He, by the way, I think, is scheduled. Did I see it on the Fallen State? I think he's scheduled to be on the Fallen State. I know he was interviewed. I think this week you may hear Dylan Burns on the Fallen State. TheFallenState.tv, guys. Tell the hippy-dippy people that LGBTQ is wrong because of all the homo stuff they do. Yeah, it is wrong. And they're pushing evil. If Trump supporters were actually violent, says Commander Kim, why didn't they release all the hundreds of hours of video footage? It might be over 1,000 hours of video footage. May even be thousands of hours of video footage from the tunnels. Yeah. Oh, I was telling you, I got sidetracked. Elijah Schaffer saw the cops fired like tear gas or smoke bombs or something into the crowds after the self-policing, mostly peaceful Capitol protesters were already calming down. Did you know that? Did you know that? They were already calmed down because conservatives and right-wingers in general are self-policing, meaning if somebody's acting out of line, they're like, hey, calm down. Or they stay away from him so that he's off by himself and can't really do much. But there were instigators, and they were being calmed down and stopped. But after they were calmed down, cops one cop pushed a guy off of, he had been climbing up, and they pushed him and he fell far, and that got the people riled. They're like, whoa, that was unnecessary contact, unnecessary roughness, excessive force, police brutality. Give me a break. But it got people upset because it was unnecessary, right? And then they started firing smoke bombs into the crowd that had already become peaceful. Or it's tear gas or something. One guy died, and they claimed that he had an overdose or that he had a stroke or a heart attack. But maybe it was prompted by this unnecessary, allegedly, according to Elijah Schaffer, who's a pretty honest guy, violence of the police over there, who were overwhelmed and underprepared thanks to the fake leadership. What a setup, huh? Julie Kelly, says Asmodor, of American Greatness. Yeah, a journalist lady. Several other reporters have posted video of Capitol Police tear gassing just like what I just mentioned. Tear gassing the peaceful crowd and beating helpless women and old sick people with batons before it got violent on the protesters' part. Wow. Makes you wonder, goes on Asmodor with the super chat on Odyssey, why the feds are hiding all those thousands of hours of January 6th, huh? Yeah, exactly. Commander Kim and Asmodor have more of the story that you're not being told. I'm getting like Twitter DMs from people or Twitter statements, people acting like, what, that's not a mostly peaceful Capitol protest? Yes, it was. It was mostly peaceful. How many tens or maybe even hundreds of thousands of protesters showed up to Washington, D.C.? Many of them went to the Capitol. Very few, comparatively, acted erratic. And even among those, even fewer acted violent. What are the details on the injuries that those 150 cops actually suffered? One of them suffered a heart attack because some Hispanic guy went wild. He went out of his mind, which is common for a poorly raised POC to do, and he tasered a cop. That was Fanon, Officer Fanon, who's like a communist. He looks like a Chad, but he's not. He's a beta in alpha clothing. What a mess. I believe they're keeping January 6th on the forefront of normies' minds so they can justify Antifa violence. See, the right is violent too. Yeah. But I don't even think that the normies really care. You know what I mean? Hippy dippy, don't listen. They just yap a bunch of crap, says Misty. 3.5 hours. 8 panelists is how it usually is. And then, so that's this Friday. And then the following Saturday, did you know, just quick announcement, I'm scheduled to be on another modern day debate thing in person this time in Dallas, Texas. I don't even know what the topic is. Let me see. YouTube.com/modern day debate. The great modern day debate. JLP has been on a modern day debate. I've been on there a few times. But that's pretty cool. In person, religion debates and panels in Dallas, Texas. We shall see. We shall see. Fun stuff. So that's going to be actually on Sunday. But catch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, guys. I don't know when exactly on Sunday. They're going to jump Hake, says Robert Nunn. No, modern day debate, he likes me. He likes everybody. He's a nice guy. I shall watch out. But Dallas, Texas, that'll be a week from this coming Sunday. Basically in 2 weeks. So we'll see if I can make that following Monday. I'm trying to. He got me like a red-eye type of a flight. And so assuming that the weather is fine, I should be able to make it back for Monday and not get much sleep, but still come on. It's a trap, Hake. I'll mind my P's and Q's. I shall watch out. But, yeah, that's cool. Very nice. And I do plan someday to interview that nice... Oh, sail away. You talking about interview modern day debate? I'm going to interview the hippy dippy guy at some point soon. But I want you guys to be introduced to him more from the Fallen State interview, because I watched that Fallen State interview and some of it was quite interesting. Did you know he considers himself a Christian? That guy, Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns, 1776. It's sort of almost like a patriotic, even though he's like a Democrat commie. I call him a commie. I don't think that he considers himself that. Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns, 1776. I think he calls himself queer, but he also calls himself Christian. And he's also a Democrat. Wow. So many contradictions. But, yeah, check that out. TheFallenState.tv. I'm very excited for you guys to see it. I think you will. I think you will enjoy it. Pretty deep stuff sometimes. It's ridiculous. All that scaremongering and stuff. Speaking of scaremongering, last little story for you. What do you guys think, or do you know anything about this 5G stuff? 5G? This is from Commie Nonsense Network. I've heard from like InfoWars and others, and I don't know what the truth is. There's been some like doctor or scientist who said that it's increasing, I don't know, some type of issues. Some people speculated that it have linked it with the China virus, but I don't know. Maybe they tested on the POC populations, you know, the poorer areas. I don't know. You hear about cell phone towers, people who live near cell phone towers developing brain cancer. Is that true? I have no idea. Is it true? I disavow myself. The CEOs of AT&T and Verizon Communications rejected a request from the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. What are the airplane people? You know how you're supposed to turn off your cell phone or your electronic device, whatever, before your flight? It's a weapon. Open air microwave, says Matt the American. My mate used 5G, meaning his friend, used 5G and his head exploded. Wow, says Bomb Jack. That's terrible if true. Did he die? Asks Misty. To delay the planned introduction on Wednesday of the new 5G wireless services over aviation safety concerns, because it can disrupt some of their instruments, I guess. 5G networks run on a high-frequency spectrum called C-band, and the FAA and aviation industry have raised concerns about potential interference with sensitive aircraft electronics. Two big establishment institutions. Hard to know what the real truth is. The FAA and the Transportation Secretary, affirmative action guy, Pete Buttigieg, shameless, radical homosexual. I think that he thinks that he's a Christian, but he's a Democrat. And he's quote-unquote married, and he quote-unquote has a baby, and he took paternity leave. Ridiculous. Sleazy Joe, that's his selection. He ran for president. He hates real Christians. That's by definition, that's hate is the root of that issue. Proposed 5G exclusion zones around priority airports and asked that the companies do a short commercial deployment delay on the commercial deployment. AT&T and Verizon, huge companies, enemies of America too, commie capitalists, said they'll hold off on deploying 5G around the airports for 6 months, but rejected broader limitations. Aviation trade groups have called on the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, to halt 5G deployments around many airports and have threatened legal action. So the airplanes are more important than your brain or you protecting you from the China virus or whatever. What a mess, huh? So sketchy. So sketchy. Did 5G kill Harry Reid? Harry Reid is dead. Did 5G... No, I don't know. Kill John Madden? John Madden is dead. Did 5G kill Betty White? Or was it the China virus, or was it the vax? It's just jokes, guys, just jokes. But Betty White, dead before 100. John Madden, dead at 85. How old was Harry Reid when he died? Harry Reid, dead at... What did he die at? Man, he was in way too much office. It's ridiculous. He died at 82. Pretty young. Pretty young. Regular electrical wiring in your house create an EMF field. They cause damage. Ramp that up with more power and higher frequency and wallow weapon. Plus it's wireless. Says Matt the American. Yeah. Crazy. Guys, we are over time. I'm sorry, Felipe in Sacramento, California, the rest of the callers. I'll get to you tomorrow, hopefully. Happy New Year to you. Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining, guys. And we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Take care.